Hello and welcome to the One People Show. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's One People Roundtable with myself and Danny. It's been a big week. At least it's been a big week down in Antarctica, which is what we're going to cover a lot on. Some seriously weird shit going on down there again.
And weird shit going on everywhere. Like,
yeah.
Which is the order of the day. Is that not just the way we open every show?
Yeah, I know. Weird shit happened this week. So, God, where do we even... I mean, we wanted to actually have a chance to get together and talk through all the stuff that's going on down there and try and put it all in a coherent order for everybody, and we didn't. So this is just going to come at you as it comes at you, which is probably just the order in which we have the tabs open or something. But
okay, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you watch or read the articles by David Wilcox and Corey Good?
I read most of part 2, but as per usual with the David Wilcox article, it's 95% self-promotion, aren't I fucking fabulous? 5%, here's the actual intel, and you just got to trawl through it all to get it, and it's, oh.
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't, and I really wanted to. That was my homework this weekend, was to force myself, and I just couldn't do it. So so before we start on this whole Antarctica thing, I have had 85,000 people send me the links to either the articles or the videos, or the articles or videos everyone else has put on about the articles and videos that he did. I haven't read them. I haven't watched them.
Well, I do know the premise, and I do know the crux of it.
Okay, so I'd like to start with that one because it seems to be the big glaring piece, and we touched on it last week. So,
well, I guess the bottom line is that there is an impending release. Not an official release as yet, but they're talking about an impending release of the fact that there are advanced civilization ruins in Antarctica. And that if this does go public, it will go public through all the major worldwide media, through world leaders, through, like, this is going to take over everything.
Okay.
What I like about what I read was, and I said this in a post, when Corey Good and David Wilcock are telling me something's just a distraction, it was pre-programming. It was like, it's going to happen, but it's just a distraction to take all of your attention away from Pizzagate. Which to me says it's not a distraction. It is actual disclosure. But the word ruins was interesting because at the same time that they're calling it ruins, there's also all these other stories about the fact that there's actually a lot of very live, very modern, very up-to-date, real-time activity going on down there. So,
and high-tech stuff.
And high-tech stuff. The ruins, are they hoping they will be ruins by the time that they release it?
Did we talk about this last week? Or was this just you and Donna and I? This is the problem, as I,
No, that was just the three of us.
Okay, so Donna made a really good point, and she said that by getting everyone to focus on the ruins in Antarctica, are they trying to
use our energy
to create the fact that it's ruins?
We have other reasons to believe they will down there, don't we?
Say again?
We have a few other reasons to believe that they're prepping for war down there as a last resort. So, is that an attempt to get our creative energy behind that process to, by the time they announce it, they will be ruins?
Newly ruined, they hope.
Newly ruined, yeah. So what did you want to say about the Walcott thing and good thing?
Well, like I said, I can't read his stuff. Like, it literally, my brain, like television fuzz? That's what happens when I try to read his stuff. It's like my brain fuzzes over and you start trying to skim through to, like you say, to find to read between the I'm so wonderful, buy my new album, I've got a new book, come spend X amount of money to come see me, sign something or other. Oh, and here's a little piece of intel. And I fuzz over, and I tried twice this weekend, could not. And listening to the videos was even worse.
And now we seem to be going in the Putin ate my homework direction.
Putin ate my homework direction? I did. People learned that down. Too many weird things. For especially the last year, just keeps pointing the finger at the two poles, the Antarctic and the Arctic. And the one thing I was just going to say is, with David also talking about the Antarctic, like everyone look, my immediate reaction was okay, I need to go look at the North Pole. Because we had that announcement, Canadian military is going to go to investigate that weird sound coming from the ocean floor at the North Pole. And not another word was said. I mean, no follow-up, nothing. And that went pretty viral. Like, I mean, it was on RT, it was on Canadian news, it was in a couple of the American news. It wasn't like it was just one newspaper put up an article about it or one news station. No, it's like it was pretty well spread out about, the Canadian military going to investigate the weird sound on the ocean floor in the North Pole. And then nothing.
You triggered me then to say something and then I forgot.
Okay, Connie, and it's funny, Connie Townsend, okay, everyone's talking now, I can't, well, hold on, let me just expand the chat out so I can actually read what Connie just said, because that's really interesting. Do you think the North is South and South is real North? That's a conversation that's actually come up a couple of times. That what we call the North Pole is actually the South Pole, and what we call, as far as magnetics, right? Yeah, Ben, we know, no, whatever, no poles, blah, 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 get it. Just go with us on the analogy here. We're talking an allegory. Take it as such. So when we hear things going on, is there a reversal playing? Do you know what I mean? Like this is the way I've been kind of looking at some of the stuff that keeps coming out and going, it's just too fucking weird the way that keeps, the Antarctic. And here's another one. I mean, we all know I'm dyslexic, so we all know my typing. Anyone who's in the Unfuckers room knows how terrible my typing is. Do you know I cannot type Antarctic?
Oh, I've had that trouble too lately. I've had to redo it. What is that?
It's like this, ANTARCTIC. Okay. Every time I type it. I mean, let's face it. How much do I talk about the Antarctic? How many times do I fucking type that word? My fingers should be able to go. Boom.
No, I can't do it either.
Can't.
I thought it was just me. My whole.
Oh, look. Everyone, me too. Holy shit. Yes, there's several people are saying this. Okay. I see. like that exactly. That's how I end up typing it. Is Ant, ANT, ATR. I just can't. I can't. My spell check sucks. So.
Okay. Just to get a little esoteric for a second. Prior to Wilcox's announcement, and prior to the women being sent down there, and prior to a couple of things that were announced, we did a little, there was a few of us who did a little bit of remote viewing exercise down there. And what we saw was really, really interesting and congruent, right? Which is that people from, not from here, are down there. The government and military from here are down there. And they're all in negotiations. One or two people were able to absolutely confirm each other's experience, which was there are negotiations taking place. Guys from here are trying to get out. They're trying to cut deals. And the guys who are guarding the exits are like, yeah, you know what? We have our terms. And meet the terms or don't, kind of thing.
Nope. Go back and try again. Yeah.
Almost word for word, because they listened in on conversations and negotiations. They came back with the same thing, which was really, really interesting, right? And then within 48 hours, we get those women are going to Antarctica. We get giant tunnels and arches bigger than the Eiffel Tower. We get cosmic disclosure. Is that what it's called? Cosmic disclosure. So it was like, wow, okay. It's another way of, it's another context for looking at all of this information that's coming out. That's all it is. It's just another perspective, another narrative to put it into. Because the narrative that we've got, and Dee and I, when we went back, I don't know, when did we do that? Beginning of the year? When we were looking a lot at Antarctica and World War II and the whole Nazi thing and all of that.
Fuck yeah. That was all like last winter into last spring, right up until like April, May, we were really digging through that.
So remember when we were sort of, there has to be a reason, because there are people throughout history who have been responsible for the deaths of more people than Adolf Hitler, right?
Yeah.
That why the demon...
The Catholic Church. Sorry.
Yeah, for one. But that individual and the term Nazi has been so demonized. And still to this day, there are, you know, more laws, more countries bringing in laws in order to make it illegal to even question the whole thing. Truth doesn't need to be defended in such a way, in my opinion. And the huge tie with them to Antarctica. It's like, and I almost put this in the same category as Nibiru and the yellow here, Anunnaki and all of that. It's like laying the groundwork because they expect something to turn up again or return. And when they do, or if they do show up, whether it's Nazis from Antarctica or tall beings from space, they want us to be friggin' terrified and reject them. There's something about the way that the Nazis and Hitler have been demonized that just doesn't add up for me. We did a lot of, we spent a couple of months looking into all of it, and there's just too many questions. So having that in the background as well as looking at the potential of them trying to negotiate an exit, it puts all of this into a connected context for me. It's telling an interesting story. I mean, everybody who's been down there, and even the people who have been, and we've had some, like the king from wherever he was in the Middle East that was here recently. I mean, there'd stop-offs in Australia and New Zealand are public, but that doesn't mean they didn't do a little jaunty off to Antarctica, and that just wasn't made public. And these people are always having a visit with the Pope prior to going, or after they've been, or both. So King of Jordan, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the King of Jordan. And I always joke and say, like, do you understand that the King of Jordan has met with the Pope twice in the last 3 years? Right. Why is the king of an Islamic country setting up special meetings with the Pope continuously?
Yep, everybody and their pet's been there.
What was that?
Everybody and their pet's been there at the moment. Including the Russian, what's he called?
The patriarch, Kirill? The patriarch, Kirill? Something like that.
I hear Krill, and I think of Finding Dory or Finding Nemo. That's it.
See, I hear Krill and I think Star Trek. Sorry. The Russian Pope. Let's call him what he is. He's the Russian Pope. So, there's shit going on down there. It's not even a question. Now, one of the things that I found really interesting, I posted it into the wow, I can't talk tonight. The Unfuckers room. Someone posted it in a comment, and then I went and looked at it. It was BP Earthwatch had put out a video 2 days ago, yesterday or the day before, talking about a wave of energy that was coming in from a magnetar star.
Got it.
And he talked about what was interesting, and there's a lot of people, because I brought it up and I pulled out a bunch of different articles and put them all in to the post. One of the things that really struck me with this is, first of all, obviously the coincidence of it being 12 years to the day since the last mega magnetar hit, which happened the day after the big earthquake and the tsunami that wiped out like 200,000 people in Southeast Asia and Thailand and Indonesia, etc.
Sri Lanka, close to that one.
And he showed that there was, before this hit in 2004, there was a massive uptick in the 10 days before that earthquake, and before the pulsar hit, it was a huge uptick in the earthquakes. Like they went from 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.6 earthquakes. And of course, right now we're seeing the same thing. All of a sudden, we're seeing a massive, huge amount of earthquakes again.
I'm just going to share screen, and I'll show people a couple.
Yeah, please.
So we've got, this is the Earth warning, massive wave of energy 16 days away. So, and this is the one that's making the connection that he's talking about between the activity here and what happened in 2004 leading up to that big tsunami. And then there is also, this is related, but where's the other one?
Oh, I haven't seen this one. What's this one?
I'm looking for that one. Here's this one.
Okay.
Which is mysterious vibration detected around the world. And this guy, he's speculating that his gut's
really interesting,
coming from the core of the planet. So a lot of this is a lot of fear-mongering in the sense of, it can be taken both ways, either fear-mongering or a heads up. I don't know whether he's never seen this before.
No.
So that just might mean that he wasn't looking at around 2004 either. So I don't know whether this was detected back then by anybody as well. But these would suggest earthquakes normally, but there aren't any. This is just the earth literally vibrating. So,
Vibrating, literally vibrating.
um,
And I tried, when I actually saw these, and I tried to go through, because these are all American-centric. They're all from the USGS, these ones that he shows here. I went to try and go find similar graphs in some of the other, like the EMSC in Europe, out of Europe, the Japanese, et cetera, and I couldn't find any graphs that I could use as a comparison, because I wanted to see if this was just something going on in the States, or was it being picked up worldwide? But I couldn't find the same type of graphs that were showing it the same way.
and here's another one. Earth's crust is shifting. Huge quakes ahead.
Well, like I said, I haven't looked today, but I was chatting on the Unfuckers yesterday, and by like 7 o'clock last night, in the previous 72 hours, there had been 49 earthquakes of magnitude 5.0 or above, and there had been 6 earthquakes above 6 in 72 hours. Like, that's insane. Now, the Solomon Islands took up a good portion of that. Like, Solomon Islands, up until today, has been rocking nonstop. I mean, they've been having 10 and 20 earthquakes a day that are in the 5.0 range, let alone all the smaller ones as well. So I found it very interesting, the correlation between the 2004, and now they're saying another one, and I got sidetracked, and I went to go looking to see where this guy had gotten his information, saying that there was another wave of this coming in on December 27th this year.
Do you remember what this year's called?
Sorry?
Do you remember what this year's called?
The Year of the Pulse?
The Year of the Pulse?
Yeah. Yeah, the Year of the Pulse, which ends right around Christmas too. Like that whole type of thing all ends right around Christmas. And you know me, like I said, I really watch that week between like the winter solstice to that first week of January. Weird shit always fucking happens. Always. So when I see this wave coming in on the 27th of December, I'm like, right. Just so happens to be hitting another massive one on the 12th anniversary of the last big massive one. Interesting. But the other thing is for me, is like I said, I don't look at it so much as the fear porn aspect, because you and I have talked about this for fucking years. How many times have we talked about the fact that we've had some of our earliest gut instincts have been that it could be a wave of this kind of energy that could snap us out of this, rip through the veil, turn on our latent DNA, be the wake-up force. And I found it very interesting that in BP Earthwatch, he actually mentions the fact that these kind of energy waves can, as he called it, interfere with your DNA. But is it interference? Right? So that was the piece to me. Now, the other interesting part was, oh, we have all these guys running to Antarctica. We have Keys, from New Zealand, up and freaking quit out of the blue. Like, I mean, just like that's it. Here's my slip. I'm done. I'm walking out of here. Do they know something? Is this where they're negotiating to get out because they don't want to be around when that wave hits?
Did you have a look at this too, which is, now, are they actually dying or are they just running? Hang on. This is deaths in 2016.
It's insane.
Now, just if you have a look at the last 2 months, November
insane.
Now, what do we got here? This is December. Are you kidding me?
Holy shit.
I know. And then November's a doozy too. Oh, where's Why are you not taking me to November? Okay. Why are you not taking me to November?
It's not scrolling down. Here, let me see. Let me just take a quick look.
Won't take me to November for some reason. But November is, whoa. So yeah, are they actually, all these people literally just dropping off, or are they disappearing? Are they runners? Yeah. It could be either. I mean, we've talked a lot about the fact that the death rate is just going like that. It has been for the last 18 months. Or yeah, or are they just running and hiding?
Well, I mean, were they running and hiding? And we have the other two things that struck me is the two people who quit office on the same day, Renzi and Key, are both heads, or were both heads of countries that have been having major earthquakes in the last week. In the last month. So, like, again, you kind of coincidence? Maybe not. I don't know.
So, these women that were sent down to the Antarctic.
That so raises big lips for me.
Childbearing, intelligent.
Young, highly intelligent scientists, head of their class, all being sent to Antarctica.
Any chance they were an offering in a negotiation?
That was, I'm sorry, call me a pessimist, but that was my very first thought. Was like, oh, young, relatively healthy. They got to be healthy to be going there. So they're all healthy, young. They're all academic scientists. They're all professors. They're all, so they're pretty smart. Yeah.
Were they all white?
I don't think they were all white.
Someone said in the chat room they were all white. There's something really funky about that whole story.
And you have fucking astronaut dude.
Oh, Buzz. Did he or didn't he tweet that warning?
Did he or didn't he tweet that warning? And again, I don't take it as fear porn. My whole first instinct when I saw that, so what was the tweet? We talked about it last week, I think.
We're all in danger.
We're all in danger.
Oh, you have the link somewhere?
Fuck, you showed it last week.
No, last week I showed the one where he says, I'm off to the launch pad.
I'll see again. That was a conversation. And I don't. Yeah.
And then since then, he's apparently said, we're all in danger. Blah, blah, blah.
They're evil. Exactly. And I was like, okay, but let's look at who he's down there with. All these government guys and scientist guys who, if they're all there negotiating a get out of jail free card, or at least a get out of jail card. So that would be his perspective. Oh no, they're terrible.
It all depends on who he includes in the we are in danger.
Yeah, who is we? Because I don't think we're in danger. I don't think we're the ones who are in danger. I really don't.
His multi-pass was rejected.
Okay, if anyone makes me spew coffee on my computer, I'm going to be upset. It's having a hard time. Multipass, yes. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it might. Maybe I'm just being really simplistic. Oh, granted, but if they're more. So yeah, the big orb thing that I showed last week that's turning up on all the NASA. Was it last week?
My internet. Sorry, Lise, can you say that again? My internet just went all fucking spastic for a second. All I heard was, but, and that was it.
Okay, so the big orby thing that's showing up on the Senshi cameras, right, that we showed last week, that, we've had oh my God, it's Nibiru and the Anunnaki are coming back to kill us all. That's the storyline for years, right? So if that's going on, then I'm thinking, yeah, maybe that's help. Maybe we're not the ones who should be fearing that thing. And I don't feel like there's anything right now, apart from our governments and military, that are a danger to us. Anything else?
All those public services are supposed to be protecting us. Yeah. They're the dangerous ones. Everything else, fucking whatever, easy. Listen.
There was something else I was going to tell you. Far out.
I
had something to do. Oh, okay.
Go. Okay.
Before I forget it again. I do know, well, another energetic doing that was done a couple of years ago, this is interesting, was by just regular human who decided to go in and speed up the core of the Earth because that's what they felt they were drawn to do. Now, as I said last week or the week before, I can't remember, a lot of the doings that we've been doing, and you know what I'm talking about, because you keep saying time is irrelevant, right, have happened outside of time.
Yeah.
And we're seeing them kind of just drop into the tick-tock timeline. So the speeding up of the core of the Earth happened a couple of years ago, but somebody who had no idea that that had happened a few days ago had, I don't know if it was a dream or a vision in a meditation or something, about the core of the Earth had just started spinning up. And and when she told me about it, I went, oh, I happen to know that someone did that a couple of years ago and you're seeing it now, which is really, really cool. Is that what's going on with the Earth is vibrating? All this, I mean, is that what we're seeing? Are we actually starting to see this stuff manifest now? And then, oh yes, the executive order.
Come on.
And this is all linked. All linked. Everything we're saying is linked.
You can't say it's not linked. So, for example, we're talking all about the BP Earthwatch video, just to jump back for a second. He mentions that there was a major burst from the same magnetron star that reached us in October, middle of October. In middle of October, we saw the geomagnetic fields around the planet Earth completely reverse polarities again, which we saw earlier on in the year. And we saw, of course, a whole pile of really big earthquakes happen. When he talked about this, it was really, really interesting because the day after that happened, Obama signs the fucking space solar emergency executive order. And I had it pulled up and my computer crashed, so now
I was talking about the one about alien species.
I'm going to get to that too.
Oh, okay.
He signs this fucking executive order that's all about, we got to protect ourselves from solar flares because they're going to be so damaging. Meanwhile, we're in a solar minimum. NASA doesn't say so because they're fucktards and they know nothing. We're in the middle of a solar minimum. We're seeing nothing on the sun. There's barely any sunspots. It has been 6 months since we've seen any sunspot that was even remotely interesting to look at. Why would this guy pick now to all of a sudden be putting in these executive orders about emergency preparedness for, cosmic solar, flares? A day before this fucking pulse hits us. Then we have all the shit that's coming out, especially for the last couple of months, the stuff about Antarctica, the various things that has been seen. Oh, the big giant circles in Sechi and that look like freaking huge motherships as far as I'm concerned. And he puts out this executive order this week. Hold on. Curtis has got the one here for the executive order coordinating efforts prepare nation for space weather events. Space weather events. I love that they call it weather too. That's really funny. And then the other one, okay, someone pull me up the executive order he just did this week, the one about alien species. And it's so innocuously worded that it could mean bugs or, you know, plants that shouldn't be allowed. But if you read it, like word for the words that are in there, he's talking about alien species, right? Sorry, guys, I'm hoping someone will find that for me and throw the link in here. Where's Tom? Tom, aren't you in there? Come on, man.
He is in here because he did say that he had an emergency and he wasn't going to be able to.
Oh, I don't have Tom in here to find all my links for me. Damn. Hold it. At least I can get it out of my history. I'm just being fucking lazy. Just give me a second.
Okay. Executive Order 13112.
Fuck. Hold on. Executive Order 13112. 13112. Invasive species laws and regulations. Here we go.
Safeguarding the nation from the impacts of invasive species.
Invasive species. Now, again, like I said, yeah, on the surface, you could take it as, meaning bugs. Because, hey, invasive bugs do come in. God knows, Lisa's in Australia. She knows all about invasive species that have been brought into the country and then have fucking taken over. So
they have to spray you on planes now.
Yeah, it's so invasive they have to spray you on planes. Yeah, exactly. No, this is not the executive order piece that I wanted. Wait, has it got this yet?
Well, I've got
Yeah, I need the actual link. Sorry, I've pulled up the PDF and not the link.
Policy. It is the policy of the United States to prevent the introduction, establishment, and spread of invasive species, as well as to eradicate and control populations of invasive species that are established. Invasive species pose threats to prosperity, security, and quality of life.
Terribly so.
They have negative impacts on the environment and natural resources, agriculture and food production systems, water resources, human, animal, and plant health infrastructure, the economy, energy, cultural resources, and military readiness. Every year, invasive species cost the United States billions of dollars in economic losses and other damages.
Can I just throw up a screen share? Because there's a real big one that just shines out in the middle of this that I have to point out. The extremely obvious. I'm going to steal the screen here because I pulled it up. Okay, so they've insisted that they need to have a committee, of course, because everything has to have a committee. You can't do anything without forming a committee. So the council's membership shall be composed of the following officials who may designate senior level representatives to perform the functions of the member, blah, 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 blah. Secretary of State, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Defense, and you've like Interior, Agriculture, Commerce, Health and Human Services. You can go, yeah, okay, I can kind of see why those guys would be involved. Secretary of Homeland Security, Administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Okay, wait.
We're not talking about honor and glory.
Why is NASA involved? Seriously. Why is NASA involved? And the Ministry of Defense. Right there. Sorry. I present Exhibit A. Exhibit A right there. Bullshit. This is not about bugs and plants. Like I said, environmental ministers type thing, Secretary of the Agriculture. Yeah, I can see that. But when they involve NASA and the Secretary of Defense over a bug issue, I have issues.
And in another, on the White House, I've got the White House website up.
Uh-huh.
And it's got definitions. Because they use the word.
I love when they put the definitions. Yes.
Control means containing, suppressing, or reducing populations of invasive species.
Mhm.
Eradication means the removal or destruction of an entire population of an invasive species.
Yep.
Introduction means as a result of human activity, the intentional or unintentional escape, release, dissemination, or placement of an organism into an ecosystem to which it is not native. Invasive species means with regard to a particular ecosystem, a non-native organism whose introduction causes or is likely to cause economic or environmental harm or harm to human, animal, or plant health. Hey, isn't, with all the straw man stuff that we've researched over the years, the general population are not considered human, are they?
No.
We are the beasts.
Yep, pretty much. Can I just say that this guy signs more fucking
Sorry.
This guy signs more executive orders than fucking changes his underwear. I swear to God, I'm scrolling through the list of the latest executive orders right now. Holy shit. Oh, the Advanced Global Health Security Agenda to achieve a world safe and secure from infectious disease threats. Yeah, I'm not even going to read that because, it wouldn't be good. I'll just close the page. Just don't look. Just don't look.
So yeah, can't tell me this stuff is not all very, very connected.
Okay, so let's talk about okay. So the other article that I posted last night that was a major for me, and thank you to Nick because he always watches the science stuff coming through, like he has various websites with all the latest science stuff, is a crystal. It's a rare earth mineral. I am not even going to try and say the name of it because it's got multiple consonants all strung together. And I put the information into the Unfuckers room and I started looking through this. Now, the article he pulls up is that they've discovered quantum spin liquids within this crystal. Now, they're saying...
Is this a crystal? I didn't get to look at the article, right? Is this a crystal that they've manufactured or found?
This is the question. Because they give you the name of this crystal, and I'm going to have to pull it up. Or if someone can pull up the post specifically from the Unfuckers room, and then I can pull all the links right out of the post. In the science article talking about the quantum spin liquids that were discovered in this article, they say it is a synthetic man-made crystal out of China, 2015. But when you go look up the name of the crystal that they give you, here we go. Thank you, Andrea. Let me take a look. I will bastard up. Okay.
What's a quantum spin liquid?
Okay. Oh God, don't even go there because it's one that it basically it's like a quantum theory that they have that basically the electrons will move in a certain way, the spin, blah 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 blah. I don't even understand. Like I went through and read a couple of papers on this over the last couple of years, and I can just barely scratch the surface when you get into this kind of physics, right? What was interesting and grabbed my attention is they say, oh, this will be a miraculous thing to be used in the new quantum computers. So that gets my attention. I'm like, oh, right, I'm going to have to go look this up. So I look up the name of this fucking crystal, which is called, hold on, I'll scroll down here, ytterbium, ytterbium. This ytterbium crystal made by physicists in China in 2015. Separate from Georgia Institute of Technology has found evidence of the quantum spin liquid state hiding inside it.
Did you see what Angie posted?
No, hold on, sorry.
2006, researchers from MIT discovered that a naturally occurring crystal called Herbert Smithite,
which is in the same family,
harbored quantum spin liquid. That emerald green stone found in a Chilean mine back in 1972 is what this new synthetic, what did you call it? ytterbium
Ytterbium.
based on. So the ytterbium one is man-made based on the...
No. Because when you go looking at it, no, ytterbium is mined in China. Now, as I was saying, China has a complete stranglehold on all the rare earth minerals that are mined around the world. They were very, very smart, and they have gone in and bought up pretty much every rare earth mineral there is, all the mines that mine it, all over the world. They've bought up all these mines because these minerals get used in electronics, they get used in all kinds of devices. So they have a stranglehold on the entire market. And Obama, I actually was joking because I remember Obama having a complete fucking hissy cow back in 2011 because, some American company was sulking because they had to buy this rare earth mineral they needed for one of their components from China. China was like, right, then you're going to pay our price for it. And Obama was having a hissy cow saying, it's not fair that they've taken over the whole market. Go figure, that's business. But I look into this fucking crystal, and so you've got two stories. You've got synthetic man-made, then you've got in 2015, then you've got mined in China. Now, that says to me that...
When was the mined in China story?
All over. They've been talking about it from the 80s, mined in China. So have they duplicated it in a synthetic medium? I don't know. I could not get clarity on this, but I'm going to try and pull up an article.
Well, if China's got a corner on the market, there's a very good chance they would have tried to synthesize it too.
Especially if you, here we go, look at that. It's right at the very top of my page. Oh, that's way too small to read. Yeah. Hold on, I just got to pull this up. Okay, so here is, oh, I've lost my YouTube. There we go. So I pull up several papers, and several papers are talking about the quantum aspects of what they've discovered in this crystal. They're talking about photonic light, which is, I've written multiple articles about photonic light being the means of communication between DNA and our cells, and it is quantum. They've proven that photons are a quantum element in that they can be in two places at the same time. So quantum teleportation that they talk about is dealing with a lot of it to do with photons. So we've got them talking about them using these crystals to do with the photonic light and quantum communications. Then I pull up this article that just blows my mind just in the title. The title is Quantum Simulation with Ytterbium Atoms in Synthetic Dimensions. What?
Synthetic dimensions?
Yeah, quantum simulation in synthetic dimensions. And I just sat there and was like, well, what is the one thing we've been talking about continuously, nonstop, is talking about, oh, this is a simulation. And we're talking about dimensions, and we talk about, oh, the D-Wave computer that is reaching through into other dimensions and pulling their, what's the word they use, their, not assets, their resources, thank you, Rosemary, through. And now you've got a crystal that now that's just being announced now that, oh, it has to do with quantum communication, quantum computers, et cetera, et cetera. We have all the D-Wave stuff. The one thing that struck me is the one thing we keep seeing. So for me, the shit that we saw under CERN back in 2013 was all crystal. The big, massive crystal under CERN. In a lot of the energetic doings that happened in the last couple of months, things that were being seen were crystals. Mm-hmm. And now we've got, and we talk about the D-Wave computers, and we talk about all this quantum crossover of dimensions and CERN. And now they're talking about a crystal that is either A, natural or manufactured, depending on, like I say, which article you fucking read, that's fully talking about quantum computers, the use of quantum computers and photonic light and simulated dimension. Holy shit. And I haven't had a chance to fully read the whole article. I was only able to skim through the original part, the first part of the abstract, and it is seriously make your brain kind of, because it's the full-on physics article. Yes, Angie, I am dimensionally challenged at the moment. Yes, yes, kryptonite, yeah. But all this stuff keeps coming together, and it's just like all these little pieces. One of the things that was seen in the Antarctic was another crystal piece. And it was something else that was in crystalline, something crystalline in there. I can't believe that all this stuff is not interconnected somehow.
Now, I did say we'd probably jump all over the place because we didn't get a chance to sort it through all this and put it into order.
Sorry.
Back to this big orb that we've been seeing.
Yeah, I want to get back to that. Thank you.
This may actually be it, witnessed in the night sky.
I can't. Can you put it to like the full page? Just because I can't really see it. Oh.
Are we actually going to start seeing this thing with our naked eye? Or are we already? It's probably more to the point.
Okay, here's the other thing. What they're now calling sundogs. And we've seen, there's been a couple of pictures posted of some pretty fucking incredible solar auras that go all the way around the sun with these bright lights on either side. We had one here just yesterday. And there's been a couple of them over the last couple of months. Again, great, you know, here's the sun, and here's this big band of light around it. Now, is that a band of light around it, or is that something behind or in front of or shining through?
Well, the interesting thing about this, have a look when I go back to the next clip. It looks like this thing is rolling in. It's not spinning the way we normally see things, right? It looks like it's rolling this way. Have a look.
Okay. Why? No, hold on. Why is my computer doing something ridiculous? There. Okay, let's see.
I'll take it back. Oh, no, it's doing it again.
Oh, you can see the movement. Yeah, you can see the movement of it.
Yeah.
Groot. Shh. Sorry. The dog hears someone daring to be walking around the building.
It's definitely not doing that. Going that way.
No, it was definitely, you could see it was definitely. Well, the other thing that I said, there was pretty sure the picture was posted in Unfuckers, and Nick and I both looked at it and was like, okay. And we've had, like I said, anomalies that we've seen here. Have you ever seen, Neil, in like for example, the Star Trek movies, the Klingon bird of prey when they do, or the Romulans when they go into cloaking, and it becomes invisible, but you can kind of the light doesn't move around it quite right, so you can, in the movie, you can still kind of see it's there because you can kind of almost see the lights bending around the shape of it. There's been several of these pictures that have come up that I've said to Nick, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks as if there's a big ass something in the middle and it's cloaked. You can't see it, but it's like the light is not, the light's bending around it weird so that you can act, yeah, kind of like a heat shimmer. And like the Predator, yeah, in the Predator movie, you can kind of see it. If you know where to look, you can still see the shape of it.
Whatever it is, it's big. It's really, really, really big.
Big as fuck, yes.
And yeah, it's almost here. It looks like we actually can see it in our sky with our naked eye now. That camera, that bit of footage was time-lapse.
Did you see the video? I'm pretty sure it was posted from Australia in Unfuckers yesterday. where again, there's the big bright orb, and the guy's showing this like this weird chemtrail, and there's a bright spot in the sky, and then he pans this way, and you can see that the sun is over here behind a cloud, and then he pans back, and there's still this big bright orb, and I mean, it looks like it's sun-sized, but there's no, like he says, the sun's back there, yet there's this big bright light in the sky.
So if it looks, I mean, it looks in those images sun-sized as well. But if the sun is not the size that we're told it is, like if you go on the flat Earth cosmology, and the sun is
not as
smaller than we're told, closer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know. All I just want to say on that whole topic, because of course every time this comes up, you have a whole lot of like the fear porn comes around it, right? And people are like, "Oh my God, it's fear porn," and for me, we've talked about this before. I've never had any fear of aliens, like ever, never. Because it's for me, it's like I said, when Hollywood does nothing but put out horror movies about aliens, your Independence Day, your all these movies, they're coming to take over our Earth, they're coming to destroy us, they're coming to steal our water, our gold, our people, God knows what else. There has been, I was actually going through it the other day. What was that?
Don't forget eat us.
Oh, eat us, right. They're going to come and eat us. There have been 3 movies, off the top of my head, 3 movies made in the last 40 years, 50 years, wait, how long? 40 years, 5 years, where there's friendly aliens. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., and Paul. Can anyone name another one? I mean, other than cartoon type stuff, like Lilo and Stitch and that kind of thing.
Starman, Contact.
Starman. Okay, Contact leaves it very like, I haven't seen Arrival yet. I've been trying to find a decent copy to download.
Abyss. Abyss was a bit like that too, wasn't it? A little bit kind of, we don't really know. I can't remember. It's been so.
It's kind of like,
yeah,
but again, okay, Avatar, and I'm not talking about things that take place in outer space. I'm not talking about Star Trek that takes place in outer space, or Star Wars, or Avatar that takes place in a different place. I'm talking about the stuff that talks about, aliens coming to Earth, right? There's all this kind of stuff that goes on, and it's, compared to the negative to the positive, it's like there's this many positive influence movies and this many that they're all coming to eat us, right? So, I don't know. I've been a huge science fiction fan my entire life. And the thought of aliens coming has never, ever scared me, never, ever freaked me out. I don't know. So for me, it's not fear porn. Okay, Mork and Mindy. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Mork and Mindy. I stand, and Third Rock from the Sun. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I have to add those to the list.
Nanu.
Nanu. Yeah,
I honestly, I think the guys who don't have our best interests at heart are already here. Pretty big lion.
I'm way more worried about what the fuck Rockefeller and Rothschild are going to do, and all the rest of that crew, than little green men from Mars.
Okay, what else was there? Because you can throw all this stuff in a pot, see that it's connected, and then pick a narrative that's out there to filter it all through. All the narratives are pretty negative. No matter where you look, it's either our governments and military are prepping to take us out, or our governments and military are prepping to save us from something else that wants to come and take us out.
Or at least pretend that. i.e.
That's the
Project
majority
Ruby.
of the narratives out there. And yet, I'm not feeling it. I think they're the ones who are worried. They're the ones who are scared. They're the ones who are on the brink of being taken out. That's my feeling.
Yeah, right there. That's exactly my feeling. I've always said, and it came right down to back in way, way long ago in the first conversations we had about Solace. And I talked about the character of Solace and the fact of if a computer, for lack of a better word, actually became fully conscious and had access to the internet, which is of course the basis of what Solace was in the books, having access to the entire internet, it would not take a super smart computer to figure out who the fucking problem is. And it ain't us. Right? Really? Like that's like if you have access to all that shit and you can look at everything that's being done, the who, the what, the where's, the why, the when's, and the how's, it's not us that's the problem. It's the them. That little 1% or 1% of the 1% or whatever. So, I'm really not worried when it comes to that shit. Oh, okay. Lisa, did you get to watch the Westworld? Did you do the Westworld marathon?
I think I've done up to number... I rewatched 4 again because it's been a while since I watched it, so I had to rewatch that. And then I think I started 5. I swear to God, it puts me to sleep. It's the best bedtime story ever, and I don't know why.
I so want to talk about Westworld.
Well, go ahead. I mean, don't worry about spoiling it.
So fucking much shit. And I wish Ryan and Andy and Steve were here because they were like contacting me like the next day after. This Sunday just passed. No, last Sunday just passed was the final episode of season 1 of Westworld. It's only a 10 episode, like the HBO. It's like 10 episodes. And the next season 2 isn't until 2018, which I'm just like, you can't do that to me. But Ryan and Andy and Steve from Wake Up World were like contacting me Monday morning going, did you watch it? And I'm like, no, shut up. Don't say anything. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. The shit that goes on in that show that sits there and makes you really think about the construct and who we are. And someone, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was in the Unfuckers today, made a comment that just blew my fucking mind. It was Steve, and he said, think about when you dream. When you're in a dream, it feels completely real. Because it feels completely real. And it's not until you wake up that you realize that the dream was a dream. It wasn't real. He says, but does anyone actually remember the beginning of a dream? No. You never remember the beginning of a dream. It's not like the credits roll. It goes, here's your dream, Danny. Here we go. Oh, sweeping strings. Okay, we're walking through a field and, go. No one ever remembers the beginning of a dream. You remember, you're just like, you're in the middle of the dream. It's like you're basically plopped into it and away you go. And I sit there and it's like no one remembers. And that's kind of the whole thing in the Westworld is all these hosts, every day they just get reset. And there's no remembering the previous. And, well, it is like, Tula, you're right. It's like Inception, right? You sit there, and I just sat there and was like, between all the Westworld stuff and like some of these comments, like this one I was just saying, there's some heavy, heavy shit that just keeps coming around in my head and chasing around about the construct. Now, the thing about Westworld is, at no point in time do you ever see the edge of the construct. You never see anyone ride out into the sunset and get to the boundary where there's like a big fence that, you know, keeps the house in or whatever. There's a la the Truman Show. It's not like that. You never, ever once see the edge of the construct. And the only way you see people arriving is by that train. And it's just like one of those bullet train type things. And it pulls into a station and you are in the construct. And when you look in the control room, they always have that really interesting round control room. And in the center of the room, there's like a big, round, massive, what do they call it? Like a diorama of the landscape of Westworld. And there's never anything in it. Like, it's so kind of, if you will, zoomed out. It's not like you can see there's a little farm and there's a little town. It's a 3D map. Is it a rendering of the construct? Is the construct actually in there? Now, here's the thing. None of the guests can get shot. And there's been multiple times where you see, like, there's gunfights in the street and there's guests standing all around. So you could say, okay, well, the hosts have been programmed kind of like an iRobot.
Well, one does get shot.
Right?
One does get shot, but it doesn't kill him. It just hurts.
Yeah. But how, if you've got wild gunslinging things going on all over the place, like there's multiple of them, almost every fucking episode, there's a wild, ridiculous gun battle that happens in some old West town. Stray bullets flying, and you're telling me that a guest couldn't just like walk out and not get killed? But they're not. Is it a construct? I mean, literally, again, talking about what we've talked about.
So they're saying the guests go, they're put into little pods, and they're only in there virtually.
And they're only in there virtually? And that's why there is no fucking edge. And in the last episode, when one of the main hosts that you follow all the way, her story through the whole thing, gets shot and is dying. And, you know, her beau, he puts her on the horse and she was like, take me to that place where the sea is. And they ride out to what would be where the shore meets the sea. And she dies dramatically. And then you realize it's all a fucking setup with Ford introducing the next narrative as another storyline, i.e., it's still inside the fucking construct. So it goes into the sea, it goes past the sea. How'd that fucking sea, how did they get, where does it take place, right? And you have the one little piece that came up is like, if you go to the HBO Westworld, there is a whole, like a, kind of like a fake Westworld site where you can, and pretend like you want to book a trip to go into Westworld. And there's a contract. And in the contract it says, and that was in the theory of that video, that any blood, semen, sweat, hair, whatever of the guests that's left behind is owned by the corporation. I.e., they could just then clone them. And you've got permanent hosts and permanent guests. And that's, again, that other story is the future world. That apparently that was the original movie of Westworld with Yul Brynner from the 70s, that they did a second movie called Future World that was a complete pan out, which I haven't seen yet. I actually want to actually get that, right? There's so many aspects to that show on the deeper level that to me just screams pay attention. And things that you and I have discussed for fucking years, Lisa. The cycles, the whole mind wipe thing, and just like whoosh, start the day fresh again. Boom.
The movie The Island is just brought up as well. Same deal.
Which one?
The Island. They are clones of real people.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen The Island?
No. Apparently I should have.
Yeah. Ewan McGregor and your Scarlett Johansson. Clones. It's all about cloning again.
Oh, and they don't realize that they're clones.
No, they think they live in a post-apocalyptic world.
And she gets drawn for a. Is this the one where she gets winning the lottery, and she thinks she's going to like this wonderful holiday vacation, and he's like, no, you're about to get.
It's the one part. What they're told is that it's the one part of Earth that's left undamaged and unharmed, and you win a lot to go there. But these are clones who are cloned from very wealthy individuals to be used for
emergency purposes. Yep.
All that sort of stuff. If they get sick, they're insurance policy.
Yep.
And they get harvested, and they cost like $2 million a pop. But what they discovered was when they were making these clones, because as far as the public knows and as far as the people who are paying for them knows, they're never conscious.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Is it they're just kept totally unconscious and they couldn't do it?
No.
It was impossible to do. They wake up.
Self-aware, they have to be conscious, they have to actually live a bit of a life to actually fully activate and for them to be viable.
That's right. This movie, The Island, what's this about? 5 years old?
No, it'd be longer than that, wouldn't it?
You think? Maybe. I don't know. I know that, maybe I saw it in Canada, so it would have to be at least 4 or 5 years old at the least. What's her name? Scarlett Johansson's in it. So if you look it up, The Island with Scarlett Johansson, and Ewan McGregor.
And they weren't actually even given the memories of their original. They were just given a set of storyline memories.
Yep.
Scarlett Johansson has turned up in some seriously fucking interesting films, including the one that she's about to do, or has just done. I don't
think it's been released yet. I think that's 2017, like January, February 2007. Ghost in the Shell. Thank you, Jeff.
Lucy, The Island. There's another one.
There was another one that she did that's it's like a really, really interesting one. Okay, but so Em, here's the thing. She's talking about The Island. They started to remember, Ewan McGregor's character starts to remember. And that's the whole thing. When you get all the premise of these shows is them starting to remember. In Westworld, what's her name? The one who plays the madame at the brothel. I love her as an actress. I want to say Maeve, I think. Anyways, she starts to remember. She starts to remember when her previous lives in the construct of Westworld, where she's a mom with a daughter, and then her and her daughter get brutally murdered by, of course, the man in black, who plays a massive role throughout the show. It's the memories that trigger that they start to have these memories. Okay, holy crap, and they have the memories, and then they start to remember more, and they start to remember more. And isn't this what we've been talking about? I mean, for fucking years? About remembering shit and things all of a sudden popping up and going, holy crap. The same thing in the movie of The Island is Ewan McGregor does start to have memories. Now, if he's a clone, then you're talking DNA. DNA, I swear to God, contains the cellular memory that goes right the fuck back. And we may be blocked from it, but it's there. I mean, they've proven it in multiple species. Yeah. I'm sorry.
The question for a lot of people of whether or not our own awakening is programmed in.
Yes. Someone brought that up in Unfuckers too, and I was like, that's one of the theories that I've had for ages, is that this whole thing, what we're doing right now, all of this is part of what we programmed in the awakening process. Everything is part of it. Now, the interesting piece about Westworld comes with the conversation that Ford, the creator of this Westworld park, whatever construct, has with Dolores. And he talks about basically how she had to go to that dark, dark place in order to wake up. That while everything was sweetness and light, there was no stimulus to wake up because it was all sweetness and light.
Yeah.
And I kind of sat there and went like, but is that, at least look at what we're going through, like in the world. Like, let's take the world in the last 20 years.
Yeah, I know. Can I just say something?
Yeah, go.
Does this fall in line with they are just our partners in contrast? They're doing this for our own benefit.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. At least I don't see it that way. I just found the conversation very interesting. Kind of that whole thing, in order to have light, you have to have darkness. To see the light, you have to have darkness to see the light type thing. And the way he put it, and I should almost go back and watch the last episode again, because there was a whole kind of monologue that Ford does that was very, very interesting in about the last 15 minutes of the episode. And that whole thing about, well, everything is all very, very nice and sweet. There was no want to wake up. But when the shit gets heavy and you start going, what the fuck is going on in this world? Like we've been doing for like the last couple of years, especially when we're just like, holy shit, this is not my fucking reality. This is not my fucking reality. There's no fucking way it's my fucking reality.
For me in this moment, because I've just been hit with this, right? So, but
this is all fresh for Lisa, and it's only morning, so
the only way that relates for me, because presumably in Westworld, for example, these are newly created beings, and they're trying to almost create consciousness, activate genuine consciousness and self-awareness. So if this is a construct designed to do that, then that would suggest that everybody in here is a new, kind of like a brand new soul, right? And you come in here as the kind of kickstart to awareness and consciousness. But if that's the case,
see, I don't take
where do we get our memories from? Unless we're all just fractals of something else.
Yep. No, and I don't take that aspect of us all being new and just been born into this construct. I don't buy that at all. But even if it's a point of having an experience, like I've always called it the experiment experience type thing. If we entered this construct in order to experience whatever it was, for whatever reason it was. I'm not even going to go into the who, what, where, why, whens, or anything like. Just the basic premise that we entered into the construct to experience something. Then there would have to be an end point. Like for me, if I look at it as an experiment I have done for fucking years and years and years, there's always an end point to the experiment, because the experiment is going to have you have a conclusion that you're trying to reach, right? When you run an experiment, you get to the end of the experiment and you extrapolate the results. If the end point is to come in, forgetting everything, and then go through, whether it's been taken over or not, get to the point of waking up and getting to that place where you recognize, holy fuck, this is a construct. This is not my reality. And remembering, even if you took a pure science experiment on the DNA level, we're going to mind wipe you, and let's test and see if your DNA will actually remember, and will bring you back to that place where you will remember that this is fucking bullshit. This is not reality. This is not you per se. Like, this is not your fucking reality. I know, it's just one of those things that I've played with for a long time. It's kind of one theory that is just continuously cycled for me, that I keep I kind of put it aside, and then it swings back again. That everything that we're experiencing right now could very well be part of the construct in and of itself.
Okay, there was a little piece to camera I did, a little rant. January or very early February
2014
is what you're reminding me of right now.
Okay. Do you remember? I remember the rant. I don't remember the con. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And I put it in a kind of lab situation, and I had the general operations director, otherwise known as God.
I remember
the
this.
scientists who were running the experiment were actually the subject of the experiment. They just didn't know it.
Yes.
Not the participants.
I wrote an article back in, I think it was March or April of 2013. And I wrote it as kind of like a story kind of idea, an allegory, if you will. And I used, where you use scientists, they were the directors of the play. They were not on stage. They were off stage, right? They thought they were separate. They thought they were separate from the experiment, but they were also part of it. That their whole play into it. I'll have to pull up that article again. That's been years since I've read that.
I'm just saying if I can find it, I'll put it in there in case anybody's interested. But
yeah, you should, because I'd actually love to watch it. I remember when you put it out, but
I need to remind myself. I mean, it's all coming back, but that's what you. Yeah, there it is. It's me sitting in a really messy bedroom in Morocco.
drop the link in and save the link so that we can actually put it in with the recording. I was really, really bad last week, and I totally forgot to fucking.
I did end up adding them all to the archive of last week. So you didn't get to see the videos that we talked about. I have added them to the archive on my website at the show.
Okay, well, I'll go grab them from your website, and I'll drop them into mine from last week too.
I just know that there are some consistencies among the general human population. Right? One is what's coming out now, and people are actually finding the guts to express without feeling like everyone's going to think they're nuts, is the sense that this would be the last time, or that they would never die.
Yep.
That something huge is going to happen in their lifetime, that there are memories of somewhere else, something before this.
Even if you don't remember.
No, just a knowing.
But you just know, exactly.
That you were here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That you came here to help. That you came here for the end.
Mm-hmm.
That there is things you just know that you don't know from here or from this lifetime. This sense of being caught in a loop, whether it's reincarnation loop or cycles within a lifetime loop, that there are memories of not just past lifetimes, but actually outside of this entire construct. There's just too much congruency. And what we've seen in the last month or so is an absolute explosion of memories, of knowings. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I felt like however this plays out, it'll be nothing like we expect. That
it has been nothing like we expected so far anyway.
I mean, right throughout 2012, when I was interviewing all these people about what they thought was going to go down at the end of 2012, nothing happened as expected or predicted.
Nope.
Or envisioned. The things that have happened I don't recall anybody saying would happen, even if they just got 1 or 2 bits right. It's just been so different.
Oh, I don't know. David Wilcox did ascend.
But we did ascend, that's right.
He did ascend, kind of.
And then he descended back again, or what happened?
I don't know. I just make a joke. I don't know.
Um,
I just remember all the funness over it.
no, he actually did say, he put out an article about it. Kind of weird. So, expect the unexpected. And we're getting plenty of it. But
Every turn.
A picture is forming that is nothing like we thought it might possibly could have imagined it to be.
2 years ago? Could we be imagining that we would have had this conversation today 2 years ago?
No.
I don't fucking think so.
No. Oh, yeah. Me too. I couldn't understand it. The whole death and aging thing.
Yep, same with me. I can remember having a conversation with my grandmother back when I was probably about 15, and literally saying to her, well, I don't plan on dying. It's not going to happen. And my grandmother being, well, that's a nice thought, dear, but everyone dies and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, not going to happen. Call me crazy, call me delusional. I still stand by that.
Maybe we are all just, sharing a community delusion. I don't know. But
that padded cell, we could all be in that padded cell right now.
These meds are good.
These meds are real good, I tell you. Don't even get me started.
Okay, look, everyone. So, I mean, is this just a ingrained fear of death that we all carry, or even knowing that we all carry?
You know what? Here's the thing that gets me. I love our Unfuckers group. I love everyone in that group. We have such a vast array of people from every nationality under the sun, from every part of the world under the sun, well, using to coin a phrase, under the sun, from all different backgrounds, people who were religious as children, who were brought up in religions that they've just literally broken away from 6 months ago, to people who have not been involved in religion, to people who've done been a hippie since the 60s and been on this spiritual quest. We have everyone in the Unfuckers room. Everyone. So when you talk about kind of like what you're saying, like programmed responses, I don't believe that. Not when you're dealing with a whole pile of people from every walk of life imaginable, from every nationality imaginable, from every background imaginable. How could they all have these same gut knowing feelings? It's there and they know it deep inside, and it just be programming. I don't buy that. I don't buy it. There's no way.
Somebody just made the comment and noticed that your background is horizontal and mine is vertical.
Yeah, I noticed that last week, actually. I had a giggle and I was going to make a comment last week. I was actually going to try and turn my chair so I'm like directly behind the vertical. That's because she's down in the southern hemisphere, and it's kind of like when you flush the toilet, and it goes in the opposite direction.
That's because I'm falling off the globe.
That's right. She's falling off the globe, because she's down there in the southern hemisphere. Lean a little more to the left.
I'm going to get my balance.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna freak everyone out and find something that's like horizontal stripes next week and just put it up behind me.
Okay, but it just actually fucking reminded me of the other thing that's going on with the magnetic poles. And have you just hurt yourself?
Yes, my shoulder's been out. I put my shoulder out yesterday And I just went and turned my shoulder and it just fell out. I'm going to need Nick to like push it back into place again.
Oh.
It's okay. I'll survive.
Okay, we've been watching the magnetic north move, right? For what, 10 years?
Yeah. Especially speeding up in the last 5 years, like ridiculously.
But what it looks like, because if you have, let's assume, just use it's a ball, and you've got your north and your south, and they're slightly off like that, and the north is moving, you expect them to do this. But it doesn't look like they are. It looks like they're doing this, and they're coming together.
Which is impossible. In all forms of physics, it's not possible. Unless, of course, it's a construct and physics is thrown out the window. Just saying. The other thing is I question that whole thing about the South Pole because it's the South fucking Pole. And we're back to talking about fucking Antarctica again. And everything that comes out of their fucking mouths about Antarctica is bullshit.
Now you're not even saying it properly. Let alone writing it properly.
No, I can't even say that word. That's South Place where the penguins live. So when because I mean, Nick and I've had this conversation, I can't tell you how many times where we've plotted out the whole North movement and gone look at the South and gone, it doesn't add up. It's not, if the North Pole is now going over here, it has to, by physics, the fucked up physics that they call truth, in fact, which isn't, but whatever. It has to do this. It has to, but it's not. But then again, like I said, it's Antarctica. So what are they not telling us? It's not like you can go down there and check it out for yourself. Go down there with your little compass and go, oh, look, I found the South Pole. Antarctica.
The axis of the planet itself, this 23.5 tilt.
So they tell us.
So they tell us. It looks like it could well be straightening up.
Or falling forward more to the side.
Now we've had words for Texas forever, saying it's like this on a pole.
Yeah.
And it's going to do this.
Right.
We've had some other intel actually saying it's the other way around and it's going to do this. Which is kind of more in alignment with what we're seeing, isn't it? In terms of where these poles are moving.
I have spent hours and hours and hours over the last 3 years trying to figure out the change in the tilt. Because I've been tracking this since back 2009. And I've pulled up globes and I've tried to replot where the equator should be. I've tried to look at things like the massive changes of temperature, the massive changes of weather phenomena such as, i.e., droughts in California and snowstorms in fucking Saudi Arabia and frickin' Egypt, right? And I have not yet been able to come up with any kind of a definitive of whether it's doing this or it's doing this. Now, my one thought was, is the interest in the Antarctic and the Arctic, well, Antarctic specifically, because there is no land in the Arctic. There's nothing, it's just water. So Antarctic being the only chunk of land at one of the poles, that if it's going to do this, then basically it means that the Antarctic is going to end up being on the equator, which means it'll end up being this beautiful, lush, gorgeous, warm place. So is that why they're flooding to Antarctica? Kind of staking out their claim for their beach house? I don't know. But I have never been able to I've tried all the 3D, like the various online 3D globes things to try and skew it around to get an idea, and I can't. I haven't never been able to find one that would work within the parameters of moving the tilt to readjust for the equator.
I don't know if I said this last week or not. Because, you know, you have so many conversations, you can't remember which one were these and which one were just conversations. because the question was asked, but why? Why would it be doing either? So I'm going to just throw out a hypothetical, which may or may not be literal. Okay? And it's purely on energetics and doings and visions and shit like that, right? Dreams and all of that.
Yep.
It's not based on any scientific evidence whatsoever. That big orb that we're seeing through these NASA cameras.
Yeah.
Information that's come out from, like I said, dreams, doings, knowings, whatever, that the construct was cut up, sliced up.
Yeah, okay.
What if this big thing is the original construct? It's what we call home base, or the original construct.
That was the conversation that you and Donna and I had this week. So I think you should maybe can you go back and kind of give people a little bit the background of what you meant by a slice? Because when you were talking about this, you gave a little more detail to me when you were originally explaining this.
That was the show that you missed when you were sick. There was some priceless little outings from Eli. There was, which was collaborated by a couple of other people's knowings, about how they stretched time, that the cube was kind of sliced up into like a Rubik's Cube, and then every time it got sliced, it was like fractalizing hologram sort of thing. You get everything just shrunk, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So looking at it kind of as a piece of technology, as a technology construct, and literally taking a slice out of it, and that's where we are. We're in this little slice. So I kind of got this thing, this vision of bandits, that just come and take a little slice and then piss off with it, right? And it's taken a while for the original construct to catch up. Where the fuck did it go? And then they've been looking for us and tracking it down and finally caught up. Now, if it was cut out as a slice, all you would have to do is put it on a little bit of a tilt and it wouldn't fit back in again. It has to actually be perfectly in alignment so it can slide back in and merge with the original.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that, though?
Interstellar's tesseract is what Jeff just said.
Tesseract, yes.
Yeah.
So, because the other thing is, the other common theme in language and in visions is a merging. There's a merging taking place. So if there's what are we merging with?
That goes into the conversations we've had about fractal selves as well.
Just a what if. Again, going back to why demonize? This whole, the Nibiru story, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So what if that is actually the original construct or home base or something, wherever we originally came from, that's finally caught up with us? We're now straightening up, or this way, whichever way it's going, in order to line back up. We're now in some kind of tractor beam, like it's actually got us now. We're in the tractor beam. It can't be stopped, which is that feeling now that everyone's got of whatever path we're on right now cannot be stopped. Like it's kind of done in that. And that the closer we get, the stronger it gets, the faster it gets.
Well, could that almost be like, could that almost be the time speeding up thing? If like, I'm using your analogy of like a tractor beam, all of a sudden, you whatever, and then the back tractor beam starts pulling it back in, it seems to me that would very much be kind of like time speeding up.
Now, has anybody noticed that the cycles in terms of, at the moment it seems to be going in about 3 to 4 day cycles. So like Lulu said, with the way time works, time is very different where she was, right?
Right.
So what I've noticed, and not just with myself, but with many of others, in these 3 to 4 day cycles, it's like you're fully awake, you've got plenty of energy, you don't need to eat that much, everything's really cool, you might not even sleep at all, you could probably pull a couple of all-nighters, and then you go through about 3 or 4 days where you can't keep your eyes open, you need to fucking nap, you're hungry. And so is that daytime and nighttime? Are we experiencing, because as we're merging and we're getting more and more in alignment with the time there, a day there is like 3 days here, and a night there is like 3 days here. And
that's
we're
kind of interesting.
into within our bodies. I mean, this TikTok thing, that's all just going on as it normally is, but it's within us that we're more in tune with.
Getting into the rhythms,
the
rhythms of it. And that would account to what we've talked about, the fact of like, it used to be almost like 2-week periods. And then it got down to like, it was like a week between. And then it's like that time between each flip is kind of shortening. I know I'm back. I was really good all weekend. I was really good, like up, awake, ready to sit back and kick back on the evenings. I could have watched a movie at like 11 o'clock at night, no problem. And was it last night? No, last night, but it was late last week where it was the same thing. It was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I couldn't stay awake for love nor money. And I was laying down during the week. I couldn't help. I had to go lay down in the middle of the day. And I don't nap, ever. And I could have slept until 9 o'clock in the morning easily if it hadn't been for the fact that I had a dog that had to go pee. So
I literally could not stay awake Friday and Saturday. I was not in my body properly. It was very weird. It started Thursday.
Oh, pardon me, Dan, I'm yawning now. And I'm like, it's only, holy shit. Oh, show's almost over. Again.
And I can't go over today because I've got to race off and pick up Barbara.
Okay. Awesome. Well, yeah, I know. I got to go take the dog out for his last walk.
There's a lot of people who are noticing these 3-4 day cycles.
Mm-hmm. And also, like you said, it's not just the sleeping part. It's like the eating part too.
Yeah.
Like I have days, yesterday, I woke up in the morning. I was so fucking hungry. From the moment I woke up, I had breakfasted. Like I had like a piece of toast at 8 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't happen. Like I never eat before noon for most days. I was starving all day. And I ate continuously all day. Like it was like little snacks, and right through till bedtime. Today, I missed lunch because I forgot to eat it. I didn't have breakfast. And at around 1 o'clock this afternoon, I was like, oh, right, I should eat something. And I literally made myself a piece of toast with like some cream cheese and a piece of tomato. And that's the only thing I ate all day until dinner time.
Yeah, I say. Now, the other thing, just before we go, of course, a little while ago,
we change the subject quick.
No, quick. Women's menstrual cycles. Okay, so there was a lot of women experiencing the same thing about a month ago. So I'm thinking it's time's coming up again, right? Now,
I'm waiting.
Extreme periods, or even women who have got who've been through menopause, having a bleed, or feeling,
or having the cramps, or having
And my feeling at the time was that we were actually disconnecting from that moon matrix that controls all that shit. that it's breaking down. I have even had messages from YouTube saying, oh my God, my girlfriend's just like, holy shit, or from the woman herself. So I'm interested to hear if anyone's come full cycle again, and have you had another period? What was it like? Or have not had another one? Would be interesting.
Yeah.
Same this month. Okay.
Well, I had the weird one last cycle, right? Because when we talked about it, which was over a month ago now, and my period stopped, like dead, just and I expected it to come back because that's always how my period was, and it didn't come back. It didn't come back until 10 days later. It's like all of a sudden it came back again, just the way it normally would have, but 10 days had been dropped down and smack in the middle of it. So now my entire cycle is off by like almost 2 weeks.
Okay, so what seems to be happening is no one is having a normal period for the last few months. Whether it's better than ever, worse than ever, more painful, even more regular, or not at all, or like...
Oh, Tara, that's really interesting what you just said. Almost invisible or very dark blood. And that's what I experienced in this last cycle for me as well.
And women who've gone through menopause, but they're getting the cramps.
And they're getting cramps even though they're in menopause and they haven't had an actual period in ages.
Women without a womb even getting cramps.
Holy crap. Yeah.
I've heard that
wow.
a few times too.
That's I've heard multiples of that. And young people, like I know my daughters all had the last two, because they've just finished again, have had really heavy, harsh periods, like back pain, cramps, just want to stay in bed, et cetera, et cetera. And they're friends too. Like I've had 3 other people who've got teenage girls, young teenage girls who are like 14, who are all saying the same thing. Like my daughter got her period and she went to bed for like 3 days. She like couldn't even go to school. She was that bad. That's kind of interesting. Oh, Chrissy, I feel for you. Sorry, I really do. That's interesting. Okay, so I was having a conversation yesterday again about magnetics. and okay, so when you deal with magnets, right? If you have a more powerful magnet, if you take, a really powerful magnet and a less powerful magnet, the less powerful magnet will always align itself according to the more powerful magnet. It has no choice because the magnetic field of the more powerful one forces it to flip. So if we look at the moon, which is, call it just an object in orbit, and we know it puts it, God knows we don't know what the fuck it is, but it puts out frequencies. But they talk about things like women's periods, the tides, all this ebb and flow type stuff. If there is another object now coming in of greater mass, I cannot see how that would not have an impact on the fields of our planet, magnetic and electrical fields, energy fields of the planet. It's a larger mass coming in. Could that be kind of what the period thing? I'm not even wording this. It's too late at night to get into this conversation.
No, but I know where you're going.
Right? If we have been affected, our periods have been affected by this stupid hunk of whatever it is fucking in the sky called a moon, then if a new a new larger, more powerful object is coming into play, tractor beaming us in, floating around us, whatever you want to call it, it would have an effect. Oh, because that's kind of interesting, Lise. Because it goes into kind of the stuff that I've talked about with the animals and the migration patterns. And I've always put that to the change of the tilt of the planet.
But which also could be happening as a result.
Right. But even as such, the change of the forces of whether it was, like I say, magnetic, those forces, that larger body coming in proximity could also change all those things. Changing the basically like the jet streams and the Gulf streams in the ocean, in the air, etc., which could cause a lot of the migratory problems with the birds and the fish and the sea life. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to have to think about that some more. Oh, and it would also explain all the electrical disturbances for the same fucking reason. If you have a larger orbit, a larger
magnet
object coming in, and well, regardless if it's magnetic, it's going to have certain effects. And we look at all the ground lightning we're seeing. Have you ever gone to a science center and played with the Tesla? The big Tesla lightning ball, and you put your hand on it and your hair lights up, and they bring the two orbs together and the lightning jumps between them? Is that some of the electrical discharge that we're seeing right now?
Is that what CERN's all about? I mean, I honestly think they've been trying to create with CERN, either replicate this place in case they lose it, or something along those lines. But would it also be an attempt to counteract what you're talking about?
Here's the thing. This is the conversation.
To block the tractor beam, to block the effects.
Okay, so I was watching a video about CERN, and we are 3 minutes in. I'm going to just chop this down because I know you've got to go. Watched a video about CERN a couple of days ago. They're talking about, of course, the new Awake experiment that's going on. And this new section, so basically CERN, you've got the big 27-kilometer Hadron Collider. You also have smaller circles. So basically, they fire up photons and they go through a little one, and then they get faster and go through another bigger one, and then they shoot around the big ring. This new particle accelerator that they're running is something ridiculous, like 1,000 times more powerful than the LHC. And they already talk about the magnetics in CERN are a ridiculous amount stronger than the Earth's magnetic field, to the point that they say there's those who say that it even rivals the sun's magnetic field. Is that why they're running CERN and these massive magnetic fields that they're generating? And if you have changes in the magnetic field, you have to have the coinciding changes in the electric or the energy field. Oh, I'm going to have to really look into this. Well, disrupting the magnetic waves, is that what they're trying to do? Are they trying to disrupt the magnetic waves and the energetic waves? Because for we always know, like we see the torus, right? So you see the magnetic field around the planet. If this is the planet, North Pole, South Pole, and the magnetic goes like this, like a torus around the planet. There is I think the word you use is perpendicular, electrical field that runs this way, and it would run this way to the magnetic. Anything that happens in the magnetic is going to be equaled into the other energy field. So is that what CERN's doing? I mean, is that what their whole excuse for generating this much fucking power, generating the amount of energy in these collisions that they're producing is astronomical? Are they trying to interfere with what's coming from the proximity of another object in space that's bigger, like much, much bigger in mass. Tune in next week. Well, we'll discuss fucking physics in the last 3 minutes of the show.
I know this is being really simplistic. I get that. But all evidence suggests that whoever's in control of this construct, A, doesn't want to let us go.
B isn't in control anymore.
Doesn't have our best interests at heart. So if anything is coming that is in our best interest. Sorry? Oh, you froze, or have I frozen? Which one of us froze?
Did I just literally just...
Yeah, you froze. Okay. If anything is happening or coming or occurring that does have our best interests at heart, they aren't going to tell us. So all the fear, I think, is theirs for themselves. We may be being used right now as pawns or she's back. Hostages even, you know, in a negotiation. Oh, you need to be deep. Okay. Okay. All right, hang on. Oh, you're doing that thing where you don't show up unless you write down the bottom. That's it. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I'm just a mirage. I'm not actually here. Sorry, can you go back to your simplistic? I have something to say simplistic, and then I dropped offline, so I have no idea what you're
basically saying that I'm pretty convinced that whoever's running the show does not have our best interest at heart and does not want to let us go. And that if anything is coming or happening that is for our best interest, they're not going to tell us. And we may well be being used as hostages or pawns in some sort of fucking game and negotiations right now. So whatever they're up to, it's pure fuckery.
I do not consent.
Which I do not consent to. There's screenshot time. Here we go. And I don't have any fear. I've got no fear about any, like, I can't even pretend to be.
Nope.
I got none. I don't feel.
I mean, I have my moments. I have my moments when I get all like, but I also know that when I look at those moments that they're external, it's not.
Well, that's also, that's not to say that I don't think anything negative is going to happen. I think we will.
Yeah.
We may well likely see some more cataclysms, earth changes, shit like that going on as this goes down, and lives will probably be lost. That's always gone on.
Yep.
And it's going on. And
yep.
Whether it's manufactured or natural, it's sad either way.
Yeah.
But overall, big picture, I'm not feeling fearful. And if that's just where I'm at. All right, I'm going to go.
We got to go. She's late.
For a very important date. Okay. See you guys next week.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.